the defense plays probably its best game in a long time. What stood out to you watching the film? What was kind of the biggest keys to success, especially in the red zone for for your defense?
Yeah, they played with great effort. We tackled better. We still missed a couple tackles at the line of scrimmage, but the thing is they were running so hard to the ball is when we missed one, another guy showed up, and we eliminated explosive plays for the most part, or at least better than we have the whole time. We ran some good base defense, and the players understood what we were doing, and we executed it and did a nice job of understanding all 11 guys how you work together and make plays like that. But it does come down to how hard they played and the effort that we had and how we ran full speed to the ball.
Was that part of you mentioned limiting explosive plays? Was that part of the game plan coming into this week? Like, let's try and maybe a bend don't break approach in some ways.
Yeah, not so much bend don't break because I don't like to bend. You'd like to just shut them down 3 and out and go. But I do think that we did a real good job. Now Auburn was patient. They ran the ball. They kept us off the field, and they ran the football and were patient with it, and made it a fourth quarter game, and that's where we didn't get it done. Offensively is, watching the video is very upsetting to me. We did not play offensive football the way we need to play, the way we have played, the way we've showed we can play, starting with the offensive line, which, I've been given a lot of credit to, bragging a lot about, feeling good about, but we didn't execute it all up front like we need to in the run game and protection. Talon did not play a good game. He didn't execute the way he's been executing. Missed some reads, missed some wide open guys. It was just a situation where it's very disturbing to me that that's what we got out of the offense. And then special teams, we get a great big boost before halftime with a pick six, and we come out and give up a huge kickoff return. And then the next thing is a blocked punt and give them great field position. And that had a huge impact in the game. So we've got to get all 3 phases to work together to get a win.
I know it's only been a couple days since loss, but what have the focal point of maybe your conversations with Talon been of, what went wrong maybe and what you guys need to improve on right away against Mississippi State?
Yeah, we talked a lot about it. And we go back and look at his preparation and not running full speed in practice because of not, feeling healthy enough to do that, which should not affect his decision-making, but he let it affect his decision-making. His sets and technique were the worst they've been all year, so just really the mental preparation to practice and play, I didn't get it done well enough, and that's on me. That's my fault that he didn't get prepared and ready to play and execute the way he's supposed to.
Yeah, I was going to follow that up with what did last night look like for you from a team standpoint, attitude, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, first it was, it's hard on the offense because we got to face it. You got to look at it, you got to watch the video, and you got to say, yeah, this is not good football. This is not how we've been playing all year long. And but then you got to put it behind you and get out on the field. And I thought the players did a good job of that. I thought our strength staff did a really good job out there, and they ran hard and they got the soreness out, and we stretched hard and did some some work after we ran. The young guys went out and practiced hard and got good quality reps. So we certainly able to put it behind us and move forward. And whenever you lose a game like that, it always challenges your attitude, and I was happy with the attitude that we had.
The Mississippi State game there last year might have been one of your best complimentary games that you had all year. Can you go back and look on tape and maybe show the guys this is what we need to be doing, or does that play into this at all?
Yeah, it definitely plays into it, because it plays into your preparation. I remember preparing for that game and, the energy that we had in practice, and it wasn't like, it was an important game for us, and we did a great job of getting ready for it. We ran the ball really well. We ran with explosive plays, running the football. We threw the ball down the field, protected the quarterback. They're much better than they were last year. They're playing good defense. Their D linemen are better football players. They're running full speed to the ball. They've been in a lot of close games and not had a way to win, so it should be a real good football game.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Like, how hungry of a team do they look like, and how close, maybe compared to last season?
Yeah, I mean, they've been much better. Their quarterback's playing at a very high level. He does a good job with their RPO game and getting the ball out of his hand. He does take sacks at times and holds it at times. But they're definitely a team that we're going to have to play good football.
We saw a lot more of Bradley Shaw the other day as you've been kind of shifting defensive personnel around. How do you feel like he did with that expanded role?
Yeah, he played on a lot of snaps, and he did a good job. He was very productive. He understood what the run schemes were going on out there and did a nice job of filling holes. And, to be able to play with him and Sori on the field together, and Nix, it was a good combination. They did a good job. It's kind of putting Sori at playing like a hybrid defensive end, outside linebacker position, and he gave us some juice. His speed and his athletic ability showed up a lot.
Is there anybody else you feel like has stepped up as you've been trying to kind of make up for the thinness on the defensive line?
And they're not defensive line people, but I thought our corners really stepped up and played well, and it's probably the best our safeties have played and reading run and pass and coming to the run and really helping and being a force there. Danny played well, and he's a disruptive guy. His production wasn't as much as I thought after the game, but he's disruptive. He's always been disruptive. When you go against him in practice, his quickness and his twitch is disruptive to the blockers, and he helped us there with some reps. Quincy Rhodes played really well. He did a really nice job and played extremely hard and, rushed the passer well and did a nice job.
Any chance for Cam Ball this week? And also, I don't think we saw Phillip Lee at all again.
Yeah, Cam will practice tomorrow, no contact, and then should be ready for Saturday. So we still have to wait and see, but he should be ready to go.
Yeah. And was it just with the defense y'all were using with not seeing Lee out there?
Yeah, just the guys that we've been, the personnel groupings that we've been. Sori's been kind of the guy that's been on that edge.
How has the message been after the game with the offensive line after just not playing quite up to par like they have been?
Yeah, they need to take a good look in the mirror. That's what you have to do when you don't execute and play the way you have, and it comes down to a lot of communication, comes down to a lot of technique. We lost our technique for a while. You can't take a lot away from Auburn because they are very good. They're good at it. They're good at what they do. They're well coached, and they played extremely hard. They were more physical than we were, and I feel like that's the first time this year where our O-line didn't match the physicality of who we're playing against.
I guess on some of the special teams breakdowns, when you go back and watch it on Monday, do you kind of handle it, or do you kind of let Coach Fountain handle kind of his?
Well, what we do is watch it as a staff and go through it and make the corrections there. And then when we do the special teams meeting, Coach Fountain runs the special teams meeting like he has been all year.
Coach, with the success that the defense had with that new kind of look, the 3-3 look, is that something you look to continue moving forward, or is that more of just the matchup based on what you were seeing from Auburn?
Yeah, I mean, there was a different personnel groups besides the 3-3. We also, had the, I guess you would call it 4-3, and depending on what you're calling Charlie, if you want to call him a defensive end or if you want to call him an outside linebacker, it could be conceived as a 3-4. And I thought we did a nice job of that. It helped us against their 12 personnel. Now we're playing a team this week that's going to try to spread you out and play fast, and so it's not going to be probably the same amount of time that you can match personnel groupings as we could in that. But when they substitute, they have to stand over the ball, and then that gives us the opportunity to match it and substitute. And, Auburn kind of changed a lot they used to be that fast-paced group too, and they went to more huddling and trying to run the clock. So you never know what'll happen. But I know that Mississippi State feels like they're playing well offensively, so I would anticipate them to continue to do what they've been doing.
One more injury note. David Oakey, does he have a shot this week, you think?
No, I don't think. I don't think he'll be back with us.
How well do you know Jeff Lubby?
I don't know him at all. I don't think I've ever met him. So obviously know of him and know where he's been and, you know, where he's coached and the schemes that he grew up in. So a lot of times you feel like you know guys because you know who they are and know, you know, what they do. I'm not sure if I've ever shook his hand and said hello to him.
What do you see? I mean, what do you like about his offensive scheme, or what do you see about his offensive scheme that is similar or a heck of a lot different than what you normally do?
I mean, there's different aspects to it. They like to spread out their splits, and they like to go fast and run a lot of just inside zone and RPO. They're probably the number one RPO team that we'll have faced all year long, them and probably Tennessee. You know, so we've got to do a good job of it. We've got to be on top of where our eyes are and understand what their formations are and what tips and things we can have based off of their splits and alignments.
You were sitting at this very table when Hunter said that Sam Pittman did not have the resources to compete at the highest levels. What maybe have you seen from the inside that would lead you to believe that the next coach will have that, and how motivated are you to be the next head coach?
Yeah, I think that's a question that's not for me to address right now. I think for me to address right now is what do we need to do to get out there on the field, put a good product out there, and find a way to win the game. And that's all I can focus on. That's all I'm going to focus on. So I believe that that's what I should do. I believe it's about the players, and I need to give them every amount of energy that I have in just one direction, and that's in practicing and playing the game.
The nature of college football has changed so much since you were the head coach here and had Arkansas with 10, 11-win seasons. Can Arkansas football get back to that level in the current state of the game?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question in my mind that Arkansas can do that, and Arkansas will do that. I mean, you know, the revenue sharing now is something that I think helps Arkansas in that aspect. And, you know, the one thing that's going to happen is we have a whole group of seniors that are going to be gone, and there's going to have to be a lot of recruiting from the portal.
I know you guys didn't run the ball particularly well, but do you think like the game script as well, maybe falling behind early, kind of played into not as many running attempts as normal?
No, not really. I think what played into it a little bit is the limited amount of plays that we had, and we're fortunate that we had the explosive plays because the explosive plays gave us the opportunity to flip the field and go get points. But you know, I think we had 22 plays in the first half and maybe 25 something in the second half. So you got to convert third downs. You got to move the ball. You can't turn it over to get the amount of plays that you have. Then we could have pounded the run a little bit more and tried to, you know, get it where we had the opportunity in the fourth quarter to drive it down and score and not turn the ball over. That's what got us.
Do you feel the locker room is feeling maybe any added strain coming off just, you know, two really tight losses to top 10 teams and then to lose to an unranked Auburn? I mean, do you feel that there's any pressure building inside the locker room right now?
You know, I've been impressed with our attitude. I've been impressed with the leadership within the team and guys wanting to step up and get more work and get more reps and get in the depth and try to get out on the playing field. So, you know, obviously it's stress. You know, there's no question about that. But I do feel like that they've reacted to it pretty well. Tomorrow will be a big thing. We need to get out on the practice field tomorrow and practice hard and physical and show the fight that we're going to need to have to win the game on Saturday.
Just a follow up on Oki. Do you not expect him back at all this season, or?
I don't know.
Has it been with Taylor? not play his best game, and then he's the leader of this team. Just kind of to shake that off and step up and continue to lead.
Yeah, it's the nature of the position. And, when you win games and when you play well, you probably get a little bit more credit than you deserve. When you don't win, it first looks at the quarterback position, and he's got to face it that's not how he normally plays, and his ability to read, his ability to run, his ability to understand where we are on the field needs to be better. And I anticipate him to come out very, very motivated and practice tomorrow, very focused, and get himself ready to go out and play, his best game of the year.
Your thoughts on the other side with Blake Shapen, the Mississippi State quarterback? Just what does he do well?
Yeah, he gets the ball out of it. He's got a really quick release. He gets the ball out of his hand. He looks like he's very, very smart. We got a little bit of inside information because, Coach Mateos was with him at Baylor, so we know a little bit more about him probably. But he's played well for him.
The tight ends had such a big game at Mississippi State last year, and I'm not asking you to give away a game plan, but these two that you have right now just seem talented enough to, kind of match that, I would think.
Yeah, they need to. We need the production, and again, it's the number of plays you have and how you control the ball and move the ball. I think that's got to be a big part of us. We've got to control the ball better, move the ball better. Rohan's done a really nice job of making big plays for us. His speed shows up. He's a tough matchup. Platt's, got to be back in there and playing. He didn't practice the whole week last week, and when you miss practices and you're young, it shows up in the game. So he's got to improve on his performance in this game coming up.
I don't know how often you run it, but I think one of Rohan's catches was as the fullback or the kind of the slot position or
H-back.
H-back. That's
there
what I
you
was
go.
trying to
Yeah,
say.
that's kind of what his position is.
How has that kind of worked out that, he gets so open from that position?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, you try to occupy the corners and the safety. And unique for him is because he's so fast. He's different than a lot of other tight ends in the fact that he has the speed to get down the field.